Hey everyone, Facebook, we are live, and it looks like Instagram we are as well. Welcome. I've missed you the last few weeks. I've been traveling and just enjoying the summertime and enjoying the season of really limited schedule, which has actually been really enjoyable. For those of you who have kids that are school age, you know that summer can be a little bit challenging, especially if you work from home, but I've just allowed myself to experience the freedom of it and not be totally strict with schedules. So I'm excited to be back this week, and we are going to cover a really important topic, a topic that many of you have actually requested more information on. And I always like to receive feedback from you as you are walking through learning through my social media sites, through my website, and just in general, learning from other experts out there. Always feel free to share with us how we can better help you and the information that you want to learn more about. And for those of you that have expressed your interest in learning about how to combat anxiety, this is for you, and this is what we're going to talk about today. For those of you who joined my webinar last week, each Wednesday at noon, I teach a live free essential oil class. And each week we go over a different topic, and you're welcome to learn about those and to register for those free classes at seasonjohnson.com/events. But last week we did the essential oils and anxiety webinar, and our internet got shut down. In our city, a lot of people come to visit, and so just too many people were on the internet and I lost connection. So for those of you who weren't able to join that, hopefully you're here now and you get to learn. So for the next probably 15 minutes, we're going to just dive in specifically how essential oils can help you with anxious feelings and how they changed my life specifically. Now, for those of you who are new here, my name is Susan Johnson, and I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner. That's where my education background comes from. But more importantly now, I actually have this really cool job where I implement nutrition and detox and essential oils, self-care, cleaning up your environment. I teach people how to use all of those helpful tools to help them thrive in general, and specifically in cancer. Our story is my son was diagnosed with cancer when he was just 2 years old. And so we were able to watch these oils and nutrition and detox and all of those things play a really huge role in his healing. And that's when I began using essential oils, was through his diagnosis. And specifically, I started using them for anxiety for myself, because as you can imagine, for those of you who walked through a pretty traumatic circumstance, you can really easily develop anxiety. And I needed to be strong for him. I needed to have the mental capacity to care for him. And so it was really important that I was able to find a solution to mitigate those symptoms. And the cool thing is, you guys, I was not ever put on any type of medication. I was able to use essential oils only, along with nutrition, to help fight anxiety. So I also have this beautiful job of educating you on how to use essential oils. I am a presidential diamond with doTERRA essential oils, which means I'm a leader in the company from an education standpoint. So I get to travel around and speak to you here online. I was just teaching a class at a real estate office just about an hour ago, just teaching real estate agents how they can improve the home buying experience by using uplifting aromas and by eliminating odors in the home. That's also important, right? So I get to travel and teach you online, and I love using this space to do so. I also founded the Kick Cancer Movement, which is a nonprofit that helps kids thrive through cancer, again, implementing some of these tools that I share about here on this space. So let's jump right in. I'm curious, how many of you have used essential oils successfully for anxiety? If you have, I want you to share. I want you to just say, yes, I have. And as we go through this talk, feel free to ask questions. I'll be answering questions as we go. And feel free to make comments if this is something that you have had positive experience with. I want to hear from you. And I think a lot of other people will too. Sometimes when we share our testimonies and we share what's worked, you never know who that can touch. You never know the lady who's going to be laying in bed one night dealing with anxiety and just scrolling Facebook and find some uplifting comments and encouraging comments. It's going to give her hope to be able to utilize these natural solutions in the future. So share your comments, your questions. If it has worked for you, I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear what you use to help with anxiety. So to understand an essential oil, I want to make it really clear that essential oils are potent. They're really therapeutic. Essential oils don't have nutrients. An essential oil has constituents and compounds that work at a cellular level. Now, 1 drop of essential oil is really potent. In fact, using the example of peppermint, 1 drop of peppermint essential oil is equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. So a little bit goes a long way. And if you look at a full-size bottle of essential oil, there's approximately 300 drops in each bottle. So you get a lot out of this little bottle. Now, when I mentioned that essential oils can work at the cellular level because they are so potent, I want to explain how that works. And we're going to talk about it from the perspective of the cell, but also our olfactory system and our limbic system, because this is what we talk about and what we need to support when we're dealing with anxiety. So when essential oils work at a cellular level, this is how it works. Your body has tons and tons and tons of cells. In fact, your body's made up of cells, your skin cells, your tissue cells, your organ cells. And the cells are like the tiny little motors that keep you going. Now, every single cell in your body has a thick protective layer of fat, and that's called the cell membrane. And that is what protects the inside of the cell, the mitochondria, the nucleus, all the really important pieces of the cell are protected by the cell membrane. Now, have you ever been really sick and you've gone to the physician and they told you, I can't do anything for you, it's just a virus, go home and get some rest and maybe take some Tylenol, and you're like, but I feel terrible, help me. Well, one of the reasons that they can't give you an antibiotic, for example, is because that fat wall that protects the cell, it's made of fat. An antibiotic is made of water. It's called hydrophilic. So water and fat, they can't mix. So water can't penetrate a fat wall, which is why you can't use antibiotics for viruses, because viruses typically begin on the inside of a cell. Now, an essential oil can work at the cellular level because here's the thing, an essential oil is a lipid, it's a fat. So that essential oil can actually penetrate that cell wall and work at the cellular level to help mitigate a virus or help with any other issues that you're trying to deal with from an immune perspective or from a physical perspective. Essential oils, when applied topically, if you apply it to the bottoms of your feet, there's been studies done showing that that essential oil can begin servicing every cell in your body within 45 seconds. And a really fun trick, just to show you the potency of this and to prove this point, is to take a couple drops of doTERRA peppermint oil, put it on your hand, rub your hands together, and I want you to rub that oil into your feet. And then keep your hands in your lap, and you're gonna notice in about a minute, you're going to smell the peppermint, but not just smell it because you put it on your feet. It's gonna actually be inside your sinuses, and some of you may taste it. So that's the example of when you apply an oil topically, a doTERRA oil, because it's the only therapeutic grade oil out there. When you apply an oil in topically onto your feet, it's absorbed into bloodstream, begins servicing every cell. So that's how oils work from a cellular level. Again, when we're using them, we're going to apply them to the area of concern and or bottoms of feet. I do recommend when you're using oils and you're new to it to always dilute with a carrier oil. We love fractionated coconut oil. It doesn't disrupt the aromatic properties of the oil, but if you don't have coconut oil on hand, you can use jojoba oil. You could use olive oil, almond oil, but again, coconut doesn't disrupt the aromatic benefits. Now, what about oils from an emotional perspective? How do they actually work? Because I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about 4 oils today. And these are the 4 oils that I have successfully used to get rid of anxiety, and that many of my clients and many of you actually watching will probably attest that these oils helped you with your anxiety. So how do these 4 oils actually work emotionally? Well, here's what's really cool. Each and every one of you have what's called an olfactory system. An olfactory system is the system that processes the sense of smell and the sense of taste. Now, many of you might go, you know what, I can't smell or taste. Every cell in your body still has an olfactory receptor. So even though you can't smell and taste, you still are going to experience these benefits, okay? So that's important to understand right away. Now, your olfactory system's job, as I said, processes sense of smell and sense of taste, and it's located right here, kind of in your nasal passageway. So what's interesting, and this is where the connection comes in with aromatherapy, aroma meaning smell, and therapy, something that helps. The connection comes in because that olfactory system is connected directly to the limbic system. The limbic system is the part of the brain that processes sense of emotion, it processes memory. So I want you to think for a moment, have you ever been in a situation where you've smelled something and a memory is triggered? That memory could be positive, it could be negative, or perhaps you've been in a situation where a smell has triggered an emotion, positive or negative. Today in the real estate office, I use the example, we're in the home buying process right now, and our poor realtor, he's been harassed and harassed. He's incredible, but I'm really particular. And I will walk in a home, and if there is an odor in that home that brings up a negative emotion, I immediately connect that to that house, and I'm disinterested. On a further note, like something that's maybe a bit more serious, some of you may have a certain smell that triggers an emotion, negative or positive. Maybe a smell reminds you of somebody, and that's a good thing or a bad thing. So this is actually how, this is a really simple explanation to understand how aromas and essential oils can actually help with our memory and our emotional response. In fact, your amygdala is the part of your brain that processes trauma. That houses trauma. So the amygdala is this really small part of the brain that houses trauma. So people who've been through trauma of any sort, it's housed in the amygdala. And there's been clinics all over the world, not just the US, all over the world, that are integrating doTERRA essential oils in their PTSD clinics for veterans. And what they're finding is aromatherapy is the only thing that can actually change the amygdala, change that emotional response. Now, I always say aromatherapy and prayer, but aromatherapy is the only thing that's been proven from a scientific level to change the amygdala. That's really powerful, you guys. So we are seeing people who are dealing with trauma, who have walked through something as intense as being at war, or cancer, or a car accident, or anything that would trigger trauma, that would make you think trauma. And they're able to use aromatherapy successfully to help reprogram their response in their brain, so that when they do see a sight, or they smell a smell, or a color, or a sound that otherwise would trigger that response, when they're able to use a powerful tool that they have access to at their fingertips and apply it, inhale it, however they use it, it can reprogram that response. So again, this is really powerful stuff, and this is, you guys, why I'm so passionate about teaching about essential oils, because they're so easy to use. Everybody can use them. They're really safe for everybody. Now, there's going to be certain oils that if you have really sensitive skin, you're going to want to make sure that you use a carrier oil with. Infants and elderly people, we're going to really dilute that essential oil and help them absorb it more appropriately for their weight, for their size, and for their fragility. So depending on how fragile their health is. But essential oils, doTERRA specifically, can really help everybody. Now let me talk to you about the 4 oils that I used and that I've now helped tons and tons of you recover from anxiety. So there's 4 oils in particular. The first one is Serenity. So Serenity is an essential oil. It's called the Restful Blend. I also use it for sleep. In fact, last night I was up in the middle of the night and just couldn't fall back asleep. I woke up and it was having a hard time. So I grabbed my Serenity, which I always keep by my bedside, put a couple drops on my heart, and I fell right back to sleep. So Serenity, being a restful blend, it actually also has properties in it that come from the lavender plant. And there's other essential oils in this blend that are specific to bringing the body into balance and to help calm those nervous feelings. Now, in combination with Serenity, I use Balance. Balance is our grounding blend, and it has different properties from trees and plants that really actually ground the body and bring the body into homeostasis. Homeostasis is balance. That's where ideally we want to be all the time. We want to be able to be in homeostasis, meaning your organs, your digestive system, your brain, your emotions, everything is in balance. But obviously that's not real life for most of us. Outside in the summer if you live in Bend, Oregon, because everybody and their mother is on the internet and it just crashes. Okay, so we left off talking about wild orange. So far we have covered essential oils to use for anxiety. I explained in the beginning, so if you're just joining now, part 1 you should be able to find it easily in my feed right before this video. And we explained what essential oils are, how they work at the cellular level, how they work for emotions, and we talked about Serenity, Balance, and wild orange. And just to conclude with wild orange, my favorite benefits of wild orange is it improves energy, it calms anxiety, which is why it's part of this blend, and another benefit is it's actually really high in what's called D-limonene. D-limonene is a constituent that is really, really protective of the immune system. And that brings up something I want you to all understand. For those of you who have anxiety, or maybe you have some other health challenges that you're walking through, it's really important to know that each of these bottles of oil don't just serve one purpose. In fact, each oil can serve hundreds of different purposes. I already shared that Serenity not only helps calm anxiety, but it's phenomenal for sleep, and it's actually really helpful to lower histamine in the body. So if you have allergies, it's really helpful. Wild Orange, protective of the immune system, helps with anxiety, which is what we're talking about today, and it's great for energy. And then Balance, which we talked about already, is the grounding blend. This is the oil that's going to just bring you into homeostasis, which means full body balance. It also can be really helpful for pain, because when your body is in a state of inflammation, it's out of balance. So if you can use an oil that's going to bring it back into homeostasis, the inflammation is going to slowly go down, and it will help manage the pain. Now, the final oil of these 4 oils to use for anxiety is helichrysum. Helichrysum is an interesting oil, and it only comes in a 5 ml size. All these other oils come in a full-size bottle, which is 15 ml. Remember, it has 300 drops in each bottle, and you only need 1 to 2 drops at a time. But helichrysum is a really unique oil in that the benefit emotionally is that it instills feelings of confidence. And what is anxiety? Anxiety comes from a space of worry. It comes from a space of not having confidence to believe and have hope. And so when we can look at the root cause, for each of us, it could be different, right? Your anxiety may be triggered by a really awful accident, whereas my anxiety is triggered when I begin to worry about my children's health. So each of us have a different root cause, but when we address the underlying cause of anxiety being a place of worry and lack of confidence, and we use an oil that will help build that confidence, you guys, it's so powerful. Now, a few other benefits of helichrysum: it stops bleeding, it's phenomenal for scarring, and it's actually a really protective oil for the skin. So it's really rejuvenating and renewing, and it can help repair tissue. So I work with a lot of professional athletes, and we recommend that they use helichrysum topically over their tissue to help repair damage that they're experiencing. So the best way to use these 4 oils, this is a trick that you're going to love, is to get a 10 milliliter roller bottle blend. And I want you to put 10 drops of each of those 4 oils, Serenity, Balance, Wild Orange, and Helichrysum, in that bottle. And then you're going to fill the rest of the bottle up with fractionated coconut oil. Now you have a roller. You can put it in your purse, in your pocket, and you roll it over your heart as often as you need. You guys, this is the beauty of natural solutions, is that you don't overdose when you're using them topically. You use them as often as you need. And in addition to that, I would actually use it on a regular basis. Make this a proactive part of your protocol. It smells amazing, in my opinion, so you can just put it on every morning for perfume if you're a lady. And just in addition to using it in the morning as a proactive measure, use it upon any feelings, any anxious feelings that you're experiencing. It's that simple. Now let me close with explaining the importance of using certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils. Not all essential oils are created equal. So it's really important to know that you are not going to get the same experience and the same benefit that we're talking about here if you go purchase your oils from another company, or God forbid, at TJ Maxx or Target or wherever these oils are. Now it looks like we lost on Instagram again, so hopefully it's going to reconnect here. Facebook, I think we're still live, so we'll keep going here on Facebook. So when you're using oils that are poor quality, not only are you not going to get the benefits, but you're likely to have a reaction. And this reaction could be a really scary reaction. We've had people that are using poor quality oils that it closes their esophagus. We've had people using poor quality oils that actually experience rashes on their skin from the oil. We've also had people use poor quality oils and actually begin vomiting because they're having an allergic reaction to the synthetic toxins and properties in that oil. doTERRA is the only company that continues to prove over and over again through testing that it is totally pure. It's free of any additives, any synthetic fragrance, any chemicals, and any adulteration. And that's why it's the only company that I can stand behind. In fact, one of our big competitors has recently come out with testing proving that once again, for probably the 5th time in 2 years, their oils, they're finding impurities, and they're finding that the oils have been adulterated. So I just want to be very clear, and I'm sorry, Instagram, we lost you for a moment, but we're talking about the purity of oils. I want to be really clear that doTERRA is the only company that continues to prove over and over that their oils are not adulterated, that they're pure, they're potent, and they're free of any additives, any synthetic fragrance, and anything that you don't want in a natural solution, right? So if you are interested in this, if you already have a doTERRA account, now you know the 4 oils you need to order to help with your anxiety: Serenity, Balance, Wild Orange, Helichrysum. Make sure you get a 10 milliliter roller bottle, fractionated coconut oil. Make your blend, 10 drops of each, put it on your heart as often as needed. Now, if you're not a doTERRA customer, message me here on Facebook or on Instagram, and I will send you the link to place an order. If you do order from me for the first time, you're not a doTERRA customer, upon ordering, you're going to also receive a couple freebies. You're going to receive a 10 milliliter roller bottle. You're going to receive the fractionated coconut oil, and that is a gift from me. And you're going to receive an additional bottle of Wild Orange as a gift. So just make sure you go in, message me here on Instagram or on Facebook if you're interested in taking advantage of this. And then last but not least, actually the most important thing is you and I will get on a call together, and we're going to do a wellness consult. And that is really important because you're going to share with me some of your other health goals, some of your other health challenges, and I'll be able to help you navigate that, giving you nutrition advice, of course essential oil advice, teaching you and reminding you how to use everything you just received and you just learned. And also we're going to talk about other tips and tricks to clean up your environment physically and emotionally. So if you're interested in purchasing, you don't already have a doTERRA account, you're not already working with a doTERRA wellness advocate, please shoot me a message and I would be honored to help you. And I can tell you right now that this is probably one of the most powerful stories that I've experienced personally using these oils, is getting rid of my anxiety and having a tool that I can look at and I have access to at my fingertips and know that I have control over my health and over my emotions. It feels really good to get control back, especially from an emotional perspective. I hope that's helpful. If you guys have questions, because we cut out, this is part 2. Go back, watch part 1. I'll go in and I'll answer those questions over the next couple days. And as they come up, please feel free to shoot me a message or comment here on this feed. If you guys have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next week for our live.